If you've been dispatched out to evacuate some horses from a pasture situation, this is a scenario where we really need you to think about your safety and the safety of your teammates. When horses are out together in a large pasture like this, we see a lot of natural horse behavior, which is fabulous. They have a herd dynamic, they have dominance. What you probably just noticed is that gray mare just had a dominance interaction with her herd mate. Pretty aggressive, ears back, mouth open, sudden movement, a lot of force there. She's exerting herself in this herd dynamic. She wants control over this gate area. And it's one of the greatest risks that we face when we walk into a pasture with horses is that we are going to insert ourselves into that dominance hierarchy, and it's a way to get really hurt. So it's important as you enter a gate that you're sending somebody in with enough experience to be able to watch that body language and keep themselves free and clear of that kind of interaction, or move the horses away so that that kind of interaction is not happening at the risk of the person haltering the horse. Some people in this situation would bring in a scout or another experienced handler to watch them and keep them safe, keep the horses back while they halter an animal. That is a reasonable option. You just got to make sure that that person is watching their own back as well as yours. But the key here is that if you're going to get horses out of a field, you've got to be aware of their own social interactions and keep yourself in a safe place where they aren't going to inadvertently injure you in that interaction. They understand each other, they have cues that they use to move each other along, and they will run and kick and play out in this environment. And as lovely as that is, it's one of the most dangerous environments that we can send a volunteer out into, because horses that are being gathered by someone unfamiliar to them, it may stir up some of that normal equine behavior, and it's those high playful kicks that can really get you hurt. So if we are dispatched out to gather horses from a pasture situation, we are going to make a plan with our leader and send our most experienced people to gather those animals. If I need to go into a pasture to catch a horse that I'm concerned about, if it's limping or if it hasn't come up to eat or if there's something that's caught my eye on that animal, I always want to make sure that I have my equipment ready to go before I enter the paddock. Horses are experts at figuring out who knows what they're doing. And if we spend time, once we get out there, looking at the rope and shuffling the rope, that's basically a signal to the horse to walk the other way. So what we like to do before we enter a pen is I'll usually put my hand through the area where the nose band is, and I will gather my rope there too, and I have a plan to enter. I have my halter and lead rope gathered. I'm ready to go. This is not the animal that I want. I want to go for another animal, but this one's in my way. So I'm going to walk over. I'm going to move the gate. Pay attention to where this animal is. I'm going to go ahead and secure the gate. And then in this situation, she's going to come to me, and that's fine. You can see the other animals have some dominance or effect over her, and I'm going to walk towards the animal that I want to get. And as you can see, this is not a safe environment for someone who does not have sufficient equine experience. I think I'll just say, if you see a mule, go get your supervisor. I don't think a beginner should walk up to a mule, period. Although, and you gotta love mules for this, they'll probably be nicest to somebody that's not going to pressurize them, right? I'm concerned about the white or gray horse in this herd, and I'd like to get her and examine her because she's limping. And in order to do that, I need to have a plan to get her out of the pasture into an area where I can look at her safely without worrying about what the other horses are doing and without her being pressurized at the gate. In order to do this safely, you will need an assistant, and I have my assistant Nancy here. And in COVID times, we're going to keep our distance, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and get Ruby, and then I'm going to bring her out safely, and we'll show you how to do that. Before I walk in, I've got my halter and lead rope the way I want it. Because I don't know Ruby, I'm going to take the headband off. We can't assume that a horse is going to let you slip something over their ears, so the safest way to approach a horse is to have your hand through the noseband with the lead rope ready to go, and that way you can be prepared when you walk through the gate. As you can see, there's some dominance and equine communication going on in here, so this could be a very dangerous environment. You want an experienced person to enter this gate. So as I go through the gate, I'm going to ask the horses to move back. My gate holder is going to close that gate for me. I'm going to walk to the horse that I want, and I'm going to give the others a little bit of a wide berth here, and as you can see, they're kind of wrangling around me. And this horse is a bit of a pest. This mule's a bit of a pest. So I'm going to walk to Ruby. And again, I'm paying very close attention to these horses. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm between two horses. And I'm going to walk to the shoulder of the horse I want. Give her a little rub. Put the lead rope around her neck. I'm going to go ahead. I'm watching the other horses. This horse I don't want near me. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Get that halter in place. I'm looking around. I'm not going to let my guard down or assume that these other horses are going to behave with this one in the corner. I've got this horse. I'm going to back this horse up, this mule up. I'm going to look at my gate controller, make sure she's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead, lead this horse out, looking where I'm going. She's going to control the gate. So now let's talk about putting a horse back in a pen, okay? Now that I've examined Ruby, I want to put her back in with her pasture mates. We're on a shelter-in-place mission. Her exam was relatively normal, so I'm going to return her to her herd. Again, I'll be communicating with my teammate who is manning the gate, and I'm going to walk her in and I'm going to turn her around so that I have a safe exit out the gate, and so we'll go ahead and demonstrate that. I'm going to back these other horses up as I come in. My gate master has the gate. As you can see, that horse tried to leave. Now I'm back at the gate. I'm watching everybody. Got my knees bent. I'm going to go ahead and take the halter off this horse, and then I'm going to exit the gate. So likewise, if you're in a situation where you need to get all of these animals out of the pen, if we're evacuating them, then as a team, we're going to make a plan to be able to control the gate, get the animals out safely, hand them off to a teammate, and have your most experienced person go back in and catch the next horse. You want to avoid the temptation to throw down food while you're doing this, because horses will fight over food, and actually feeding time is one of the more dangerous times to be out with them. So we're not going to put food out for them, and we're going to be very cognizant if you've got one horse that won't come to the gate, that won't be caught, that'll be the last horse that we go for. And in many situations, if you then keep that last herd mate next to the fence, not walk away, but keep it very much in the line of sight of the last horse, oftentimes they will be convinced to be caught because the rest of their herd is leaving. If you cannot catch the last horse, then you want to leave one horse with that horse for company. We never leave a horse alone on site during an evacuation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get Ruby out, and I'm going to hand her to my teammate. Before I do that, I have my halter and my lead rope set up for success. Back up Ruby. I'm going to go ahead and back up my friends who might be near the gate. And I'm going to look where I'm going. I'm going to let my gate master know I'm ready. Horse is coming out with me. I'm looking where I'm going. I've got her attention and I'm handing her off to my teammate. That allows me to go back and capture the next horse. As far as handling the gait is concerned, when we're going to bring a horse out of a pasture, it makes good sense, as you saw in the video, to pull the gait in towards you. And what that does is it gives you control of that opening. If you were to swing the gait out and walk the horse out, you have lost your ability to control the other horses that are going to want to follow that lead horse. So when you are moving horses out of a field, you're going to want to pull the gait in towards you and you're going to want to walk out. Your gate handler is going to be closer than Nancy was in that video. We shot these under COVID conditions, but ideally your gate holder is going to be close enough that they can control the gate and shut it right after your horse's rump exits that area. And part of your job when you're preparing a horse to leave that way is to make sure that the other animals are backed up enough that you have a window to get the horse out without the next horse being right on the rump of the horse you're working with. When we are handling horses in their own environment, we want to set ourselves up for success. And some of these horses haven't eaten, and so they're going to be hungry. They're going to try and drag you to food, and you just need to make sure that you have their attention because there's a lot going on. And if they're focused in on you, they're less likely to spook or have a forward reaction to something else in their environment. So I've got her attention. If she's not listening to me, I might back her up a step or two, and then go ahead and lead forward. I've got her in. I'm back to my gate, and I'm going to go ahead. My knees are bent. I'm towards my exit. I'm going to let her go and exit. So I've just walked Sparky through this gate, and I'm going to let him go. And to do that safely, I need to position myself where I can easily exit once I have taken his halter off. One of the biggest risks we take when we let a horse go into a field is that they're going to do a high, playful kick when we let them go. And those are the kind of kicks that can really do some serious harm. So when I walk a horse through a gate with the intention to let them go, I'm going to walk them in. And I'm going to turn them around facing my exit. And once I'm at my exit, that is when I'm going to take the halter off the horse with the intent to walk to the gate. So once I'm here, he gets a reward for being a good kid. Halter comes off, and I have walked to my gate. Now, if you're in a situation where you have two horses coming in, you have two options. One is to let the horses go one at a time. The downside of that is when the one playful horse runs away, the one that's still waiting is going to get antsy about it. So you need a good experienced handler with that second horse. Your other option is for both horses to come through the gate, go through that scenario where we walk in and turn around. Both horses are parallel to each other, and then on the count of 3, you take the halter off and both handlers walk to the gate. That's safe as long as there's enough distance between the two of you that when the horse goes to spin, the handler is already forward of the horse.